It is time to begin the Monday morning ruckus. And no, it is not Friday the 8th of July. It is actually Monday the 11th of July. Did not get the title changed on that graphic. On that. And of course, we're coughing within 10 seconds of the work. I'm Jay Cliven Payne. And this little burnt offering we're giving up this morning is called Things You Might Not Have Heard. And what you're going to hear in a few moments are some news stories, titles, articles, links to stories that we pull down from the internet, aggregating all weekend long from Friday at midnight to about 5 a.m. This morning being Monday, July 11th, not Friday, of course. And we're going to provide for you some quick updates on things that you might have missed in your weekend of stuff. Now, if we do this 5 days a week, and through the rest of the week, it'll be much shorter versions. And today, we actually do a little bit bigger since we do such a bigger job. And we're providing this content over all of the expanded J. Cleveland Payne world, if you will. The J. Cleveland Payne universe, the J. Cleveland Payne multiverse. Forget this thing 5 days a week. Go stop by our website, thisisaconversationproject.com, and click on the link for YouTube. And go to YouTube, follow us there for 5 days a week. Much shorter, much more pithy. Today, we're going to ramble and hope we stay within the barriers of time. And let's go ahead and get into that right now. And like I said, go to the main website, thisisaconversationproject.com, for a lot of things, including links to our sponsorships page, links to our partners page, and other things we have going on in the way of types of projects. Let's get into story number one. Rogers Network outage across Canada. It's banks, businesses, and consumers. CNBC.com with this one. A big chunk of Friday was taken up by a lot of people not getting work done in Canada. One of the largest internet providers, largest providers of any networking information, period. Rogers went down for a big chunk of Canada. Yes, and a big chunk of the nation of Canada on Friday morning / into the middle afternoon. And some people did not get back to full coverage till sometime around Saturday morning. This is a bad thing in the days that we are living in the times that we must live in. These little things right here, which I'll reach over because I put a little too low than it needs to be. These little things right here connect us to the world, and not just from the speaking part, because that happens as well, but from just being able to connect to what's going on. Most people, I'll say anecdotally, most people walk around with the phones as their primary computers. And so even though they may have a computer on their desk at home for larger things and a computer at work that they probably work on, their phones is where they actually interact and do their stuff, their banking, their communications. And so without internet access, period, you have access with things going, period. And especially when bank networks and businesses and consumers are having all sorts of issues getting money exchanged. That's where the real issue comes. We think it's really, really cool that we can hold our phones, press the buttons, and pay for things with that magic thing. I did it this weekend at the movies, where I had to hold my phone up to select my drink to pour out of the Coke machine. It's a little extra, but when things don't work, things don't work. Here's our second story this morning. Another holdover from early Friday. Shinzo Abe, Japan's longest-serving prime minister, dies at 67. This was literally breaking as we were going on the air, and did not have time to post into Macy get into the story. New York Times with the post on this one. So what the deal is for this is the former prime minister of Japan, who's done one of the longest, he has actually the longest running prime minister, had the longest term as a prime minister, had 2 shots early and then came back, who's worked very, very hard to up its ante in the world for their, their standing in the world, also up the ante in their actual ability to defend themselves. Japan has, by law, a limited Army, Air Force, and Navy because, World War II. But they're trying to, and Shinzo Abe specifically, basically raising the stakes so that they can have a bigger part in the global affairs and actually have a bigger part in defending the Asian nations from people like Russia, and so specifically North Korea and China. He died on Friday, assassinated at an event. He was rallying for his party at an event where someone with a homemade gun, that's the way it's being described, was able to walk to the crowd, which there's plenty of security, but it's an open air site, just an open air site for doing a rally. Was able to walk up and fire shots at him, and of course he died a few hours later in the hospital. Story number 3. Free BRITNey GRINER shirts worn by Macy Gray's band not allowed on NBC's Today during performance. Fox.news.com gave us this one, so maybe there's a bit of beef in the actual serving. But we did say that we're going to do what we can to make sure BRITNEY GRINER's name is on this program as much as possible until she is home. Here's one of the odder ways to put it in here. Not much happening over the weekend with her trial. Of course, she did plead guilty Thursday, which basically said, I did have this stuff, but I wasn't trying to be a kingpin or nothing. I was just trying to go home. Macy Gray was performing on Today's Show this past Thursday or so, early-ish in the week, not quite Friday. And one of the things that popped up was free BRITNEY GRINER shirts. Free BRITNEY GRINER shirts for her band. They were going to wear them while playing on Today's Show in the pavilion. Those were not allowed. The message, I think, is still getting sent. Maybe you can call it censorship of the network kind, not wanting to get too deep into the issue. Remember, NBC and Today's Show is a news organization, so they can't be seen so much as an activist organization, although the people they talk to can be. But this was a bit more of they deemed to be more of a advertisement than a statement. So the shirts were banned. The message not clear. Next story. Johnny Depp verdict. Chaos as wrong juror claims Deepen from Amber Heard. Amber Heard is saying one of the wrong jurors was actually seated in the trial. That a juror that they didn't actually pick sat in the trial, sat in the jury, went through the proceedings, and made the big judgments against Amber Heard. Mostly some against Johnny Depp, but when it all got washed out, Amber Heard owes a whole bunch of money. This guy basically blanks out what Johnny Depp did. Two pretty horrible people. One of them a fairly good actor, at least in some standing. One of them people just pretty hate. And this thing is not going away anyway. So we're going to find out whether the verdict is actually going to stay in place if Amber Heard gets some sort of appeal or some sort of, right it wrong here by saying that the wrong juror was on the bench in the proceedings while things went along. Our next story. Armie Hammer, say that 3 times fast. Armie Hammer selling timeshares in Cayman Islands office. TMZ.com giving us this one finally, and it took me literally days to jump on this one because I was just kind of like, I don't really care. But they kept refreshing it, kept coming up. And it looks like actor Armie Hammer is actually in the Cayman Islands running a timeshare thing, doing advertisements, doing the whole spiel for timeshares. If you're in the Caymans and Armie Hammer is trying to hard sell you a timeshare, you might fall for it. He's a pretty good looking guy. That guy is pretty convincing. Great actor. That's all I got to say on that one. Oath Keepers leader Stewart Rhodes wants to testify live before the January 6th Select Committee. This is coming from CBSNews.com. There's another story that is floating around, got floated around in our stuff, not put into the range for a conversational stories. We'll explain that in quite a bit. But another story going there that is Steve Bannon essentially saying he was going to negotiate. Now he's saying, I'm going to testify for the January 6th committee. His deal is slightly different. Rhodes is a little different too, but his deal is slightly different because Bannon says that now that President Trump is waiving that whole executive privilege thing, Bannon's like, sure, I'll do this. It's also like 2 or 3 days before they put a seated jury for him and his contempt court case, so that may save him some lifetime on that one. However, this one for Oath Keepers is even more of a pickled red herring, maybe, because we believe after hearing the live bits of testimony that basically damaged so much of the Trump's defense, even though there's no defense in this case, we believe that Stewart Rhodes actually wants to be there live to say some crazy stuff on TV. What's going to happen is there'll be a deposition so that they know kind of the script of what's going on. They'll know what they're talking about. Then they'll do the actual testimony, which will be the back and forth on live, that everything's basically live. And people suspect, people with actual, brain suspect that Rhodes just wants to go on there and plead the fifth 20 times live in front of a studio audience. We will see how this works out, whether he will be scheduled to appear. We'll see how Bannon works out as well, whether he'll play the same sort of games on the TV going forward. We don't know yet what's come from Mr. Cipollone's trial. The depositions that's been recorded. That will probably be a part of what's going on Tuesday's version of the January 6th committee, the days of our lives. Coming again. Secret Service Director James Murray announces retirement, taking a job at Snapchat. News.yahoo.com is this. This was our teaser story for the Friday going into the weekend, and this is a bit more serious than the joke I tried to make out of it. Now, he is director of the Secret Service. He's basically the top dog, and what he's going to Snapchat to do, and people think of these places as, you know, the original Facebook times where they're just people hanging out in lofts and, you know, throwing Cheetos at each other and just goofing around and getting drunk all day long. He's going to take a job as the head of security for Snapchat, which, if you've, you know, been living under rocks for a while, these social media sites need security for a lot of things. This is physical security, essentially, you know, making sure that the people are safe, but also security of people on the actual platforms. There's a lot of things that takes a lot of people that are in there, you know, being cogs in the wheel to make sure that the wrong things don't get on the wrong platforms to the wrong people, making sure that nudity is not there, making sure that, you know, insane violence is not there, making sure that pornography, not said nudity, but real like pornography is not there, things like that, and keeping them away from the kids who aren't supposed to be on the platform in the first place. This is a big deal. This is actually a pretty big deal, and we're going to see how well he did. Now, he, of course, probably really tired of dealing with Secret Service stuff after the current president and the last guy. But we're not saying that the Snapchat job is really just a, you know, sit back and go fishing a couple days a week and just kind of check in every couple days. This is actually going to be some work. We hope he can actually get the work done. Novak Djokovic tops Nick Kyrgios for 7th Wimbledon title. Olympics.NBC News, NBCSports.com on that one. And Djokovic gets his 7th title at Wimbledon, of course, after sort of blasting some other people for, you know, not standing up for other things. So it's a weirdity. It's an oddity. You celebrate the man, you celebrate the guy for getting the win, but you also have to talk about the guy for running his mouth. We are giving our props to Djokovic, the Joker, for doing this big old grand thing, and at the same time making sure that, you know, all these athletes are playing fair. Life is basically high school, and when you are a famous person in running in circles like that, especially high-level athletics, everybody knows everybody. Everybody has connections to everybody, and we on the other side are just sitting at the far end of the lunch line, just basking in their glory. These folks have to be careful of who they're calling out, who they're busting out, who's going on, because at some point it turns into not quite fisticuffs, but it turns into backs and forths that are worthy of some discussion. We're going to see how this goes down. But congratulations right now for the 7th title in Wimbledon for Novak Djokovic. 2 men gored while running with bulls in Pamplona festival. NewYorkPost.com gave us this one. I think I posted this on Friday. It might have been Saturday. But hours later, the people of Pamplona came back with a retort saying, no, 2 men were not gored while running the bulls. In fact, no men were gored in the activity of this year. The running of the bulls is a long-standing tradition where bulls literally let go at one end of town, are essentially led down some narrow streets in Pamplona to a stadium, to a big stadium known for bullfighting, where essentially they run in there and they get killed. That's what happens. But in the process, there are people running with the bulls. It's something that Ernest Hemingway did way back in the day because, you know, that's what people did. Something people still have on bucket lists, even though many people in the activist world who think cruelty to animals is kind of a bad thing are trying to get this one smashed. No one's trying to get rid of the Pink Tomato Festival. No one cares about tomatoes being thrown around because that's a fun thing. You can live around that and have a good, nice fun. Bulls can actually gore people, and most years somebody gets killed in the process. This year, the Pamplona people said 2 people did not get taken out, although earlier reports said that they did. We will find out probably towards the end of the actual running of the Bulls Festival. I think it's still a couple more days going on, but this is something that many people of the current era, people living in today, and people who don't live with that tradition, don't quite get as a tradition. Metallica, Master of Puppets, sees 650% bump in after Stranger Things from Variety.com. It's not just Kate Bush running up that hill. It is the guys from Metallica who are not suing anybody, who are pretty gosh darn happy that they're getting whatever 3 pennies per download from this song, because 650% is a lot of 3 pennies per download. Metallica's Master of Puppets is used in the final episode of Stranger Things this season, of course, the split season. It's a pivotal song, just like Kate Bush's Run the Hill is a pivotal song for one of the characters in surviving an attack by the evil Vecna Sorry about spoilers. This one was a pivotal song in drawing into a trap, basically a distraction for Vecna by one of the characters playing master of puppets to distract a bunch of vampiric bat things. If you're not watching it, you just got to go see it to understand that. Because of the big popularity of the show and the popularity of the song from the past, bringing it back to people's memories, it is up. It is big. Metallica on the road in Europe right now, thanking the Duffer Brothers for allowing them to be a part of the thing and for being such a big thing. And of course, happy that the fans are jumping back into this song, which is like 30 years old. Yes, we're all getting old. Pregnant Texas woman tells cops Roe repeal lets her fetus count for the carpool lane. Rawstory.com give us this one. Do you agree? Probably not either, whatever side you sit on this debate, but here's where it goes. There's all sorts of backlash from any sort of decision. There's always consequences people don't think about. There's always people who are trying to yuck it up on the good or the bad of what's going on. We're not going to weigh the thoughts on Roe versus Wade's repeal. We can do that on a later case, and you can know exactly how I feel about that in a different venue. What we are going to talk about is the silliness let things like this. There are a lot of things going on where I saw a report this weekend about in vitro fertilization clinics where many times because of the odds of the embryos being created, not being implanted, not working and basically dying, the fact that they try to harvest as many eggs and create as many fetuses, as many embryos, I should say, as possible. So if you use one embryo and it works and you've got literally a dozen embryos sitting in a freezer, and you'd have to do something with them, what do? Do you just give them to random people and let them have babies? Do you actually destroy them as they have done in the past? And is that going to be now a crime because you have a embryo not quite ready to go anywhere, but still conception? Those things we'll have to go and deal with down the line. Questions that will never fully get answered because it is what it is. Retired three-star General Gary Volesky suspended after tweets at Joe Biden. People are tweeting all sorts of bad stuff at Joe Biden, and I thought this was a different tweet when we posted it, but this is a different story. Gary Volesky is hired by a contractor to be a mentor to soldiers, troops in the military. He gets paid $92 an hour for that. He's also getting his military retirement, so $92 to hang out with soldiers is not a bad gig. Just if you got the time to spare. Joe Biden tweeted out something over the week, essentially, complaining, I'll say the word complaining, about the current state of women's productive rights. I'll say complaining as just a blanket word. You can take it any way you want to, but the tweet was essentially blasting, of course, a women's right to their bodies and their privacy, in which Volsky had a tweet saying, glad we finally got a definition of a woman, because we're getting a lot of people backing up with stuff like that. He has been suspended from that job, his part-time job. Obviously, he's going to get his military pension, and so he's not hurting for anything anytime soon. But, it does go to a point where people who are public figures and even people who are former military folks who, at that point in time, they're supposed to be kind of tight-lipped on stuff, but still representing the military, which means they have to be tight-lipped on stuff, not being tight-lipped on stuff. There is truly freedom of speech in this nation where you can believe what you want to. You can say basically what you want to as long as it's not in threatening anybody or endangering folks. And you can shout back and forth at people some sort of nasty things as long as you're not saying kill that person and telling people to go do that. There was a president who did stuff like that, and of course he's getting away with it. However, this is a situation where a person who was supposed to be working for the upstanding folks that we have here in the military not doing something that's upstanding, doing something that's rude and awful and something that you tell your troops not to do. This is what he's doing, and it is wrong on all accounts. Here's our teaser story for this morning going in tomorrow. Florence Pugh mocks Instagram's nipples policy with technicality. What's a technicality? The dress she's wearing is completely see-through, and you can see her nipples. There's your technicality. You can't see her nipples because she's not showing them. They are covered by a dress that lets you see her nipples. This was all the rage when she was over in a fashion show over the weekend and taking pictures all over the place. And there are nipples all over the internet, so we don't have to show you them here. You can go find your own nipples in your own time on your own devices. I'm not getting that strike. No. But we can talk about this tomorrow if you vote this up as something that is extremely conversational. This did happen on Saturday, so it's a few days late, but the stories are getting, aggregated on Sunday, so we can talk about things from this story here. There will still be some repercussions, still will be some talk because it is Monday now. People can get back to work in the talking head shows. But, are we going to talk about it? You can vote this up in the feeds and let me know that this is a story you want to chat up on your Tuesday edition of the show by simply giving it some engagement. Right now, let's engage in the folly of me trying to keep this thing going. And that folly means I have to compete with various other things across the internet. Specifically, today I'm going to give you something else to be distracted with, and that is YouTube TV. Go to thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube TV and click on that link, and you can get a $30 cut from your first month's bill. You can watch 85 plus channels on live TV and various other things based on your local systems. Now, here where I live in Arkansas, we get 4 local channels: ABC, Fox, CBS, and NBC as local channels, as live channels on television. So we see them when they come on live. We also have a CW that is over the air here that's attached to one of the stations. That's the Fox 16. Actually, Fox 16 and NBC are all together. That's a long story. But we also get those stories, those channels, as well as video on demand as part of the package. So we do get the shows from the CW, even if we don't get the local station stuff. They show Jerry Springer all day, so that's all we're getting there. But you can get, as the little graphic says, ESPN, CNN, TNT, MSNBC, Fox Sports 1 and 2, Food Network, plus you get premium channels such as Showtime and HBO and all those great things, and great big sports packages, and great big news packages, and great big comedy packages, all the great things you're looking for cable with a less of cable cost. I mean, the biggest thing is you can take it with you forever. You have unlimited DVR. You have accounts where you can get 6 people can have their own different accounts. They can carry around them with their phones, on their tablets, anywhere you are, on your laptop. I watch it while I'm working here next to my laptop on this screen here. That's where I watch my TV most of the time. Or when I'm at my office, I can turn it on, news, and put it on my other screen there while I'm working on reports there. Check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube TV. This may not be the best sell of YouTube TV, but if you're already in the market looking for a way to cut the cord or cable, here's a path. Check it out. You're going to get $30 off your first month for signing up for YouTube TV. Our websites to remark. Website, this is the conversationproject.com, our main website. You can go there to find out all the stuff you need to find out about us at the Conversation Project. You can stop by our partnerships page, see how you can partner with us directly. You can stop by our sponsors page and visit more of our sponsors. You can see when I get on the stick and do better stuff, past episodes of this stuff, and ways to interact with us more, including ways to sign up for the newsletter. We're doing some shifting, so the newsletter is going to be a little weird. We're shifting providers actually today, so you may see a shift in signing up for the newsletter. You can check that out as well, but get on the list and sign up for it so you don't miss out on it going forward. We're doing our best to make sure that stays consistent, but time isn't a factor. The Facebook and Twitter feeds, facebook.com/thisistheconversationproject and twitter.com/th_conversation is where we post news stories every 50 minutes. The Florence Pugh story will be there somewhere in the next 30 minutes to an hour, and you can engage with it there. Simple. You really engage with it. Like it, love it, hate it, share it, reply to it, talk to me in the replies. And the more you touch that story, pun intended, the bigger chance that you get a chance to talk about it in the next day. We talk about the most conversational stories. Today is Monday, so for Monday, we're across 6 different channels. And so we take a full weekend's worth of stories, which is normally about 90 or so stories, and take the top 30 to sift through. And today we provided for you 10 of those stories as conversational things to take on your coffee talk, and take on your water cooler talk, and take on your chats around the day. On Tuesday through Friday, we're only going to go through about 30 stories in a full day. We're only going to go through about 15 of those stories to make it conversational. We'll give you 5 to 9 stories, more or less, to talk about in those cases. 9 because I'm having a hard time cutting myself off, but we're doing good on time for those days, so we let it ride. So you check out the feeds, and you can enjoy what stories are there. Read them, see what's going on. A lot of stories not quite picked up in the mainstream media, not quite on the CNN on my left-hand side, but it's stories that are interesting to talk about. TikTok, we're there at the Conversation Project. There you go. And on YouTube, go to thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube and click the link for our page. Still trying to get enough subscribers so we can get those custom names. So subscribe, hit notifications, and at 5:40 in the morning when this thing goes live, you'll get the notifications. Everything will pop up there. A few more last things going out the door for today. Things to talk about include birthdays for July the 11th. Not January. That's a whole nother junk of baloney. Giorgio Armani turning 88 years old. The designer's 88 years old today. Celia Ward at 66. And Lisa Rinna, believe it or not, only 59 years old this day. So I'm not sure if that really came out the way it should have. Like, I think she should be like 88 like Giorgio Armani, or actually seemingly younger than 59. But she is 59 in her age and her heart. Mojito Day is what we're going to spotlight today. Today is also the beginning of Vodka Week. So you can celebrate vodka all day, all week long. But mojitos aren't made of vodka, they're made out of rum. So this is just for the day. So that's just throwing out there. Whether you want to spend the whole week with vodka or just one whole day with mojitos, you do you, boo. It's all about what you want to do. And the last thing going out the door, according to the Department of Energy, 78 degrees is the right summer AC setting to balance savings and comfort. The Department of Energy says you should set your thermostat at 78 when you're at home, 85 when you're at work, and 82 when you're sleeping. I have this on confirmed notification that my good friend Dawn is not following these rules and going to keep it at 65 until she dies. And I believe her. This has been Things You Might Have Heard for Monday, July the 11th, 2022, not July the 8th. We'll fix that in post. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, for being a part of the thing. As we said, if you're watching this on one of the J. Cleveland Payne channels, make sure you sign up at thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube. Sign up on that YouTube channel so it gets the love it deserves. We get a little bit extra if you are in the same general place, but check that out as well. And of course, we'll need you to subscribe and to hit notifications to get all the magic from that as well. Follow us on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Go to our main website and see what we got going on. And the biggest thing is just keep on keeping on. Stay hydrated. Stay limber. Stay on task. We need you for great things to come. You have great things that are meant to be. Many of them to happen on today. So get out there and have a great day. We are posting news stories now. We'll post more news stories as they come along. We want to make sure that thoughts and prayers go out to all who want thoughts and prayers. Don't want to leave anybody out. And like we said, we're going to bring up BRITNey Griner as much as possible as we can until she is home. Thank you so much. Like I said, the 11th, not the 8th. Let's go get to work.